Hey y'all, it's me, Steve Navoychek, and I'm going to tell you how a data center works for dummies, including me. Most people hear the words data center and they picture a big building full of computers, and that's partly true. A data center is not just a building, though. It is a 24-hour machine. It runs all day, it runs all night, it does not sleep, and when it is large enough, it can affect power, water, emergency response, land use, noise, and the future of a community. So this is not a sales pitch and it is not a panic button. This is a simple version of how a data center actually works. A data center is a machine. At the simplest level, a data center is a place where thousands of computer servers operate. Those servers store information, process information, run websites, apps, cloud services, artificial intelligence systems, business records, banking systems, and many of the digital tools we use every single day. But those servers do not just sit there quietly. They use electricity, they create heat, and they have to keep running. That means every data center depends on three basic things: power, cooling, and backup. The power goes in. The first thing a data center needs is electricity, a lot of electricity. The servers need power, the cooling systems need power, the pumps, fans, controls, lights, security systems, and backup equipment all need power. And unlike a regular office building, the demand does not drop much at night. The computers keep working, so the power demand is not occasional. It is heavy, it is steady, and it is constant. And that is why the electric grid matters. When electricity runs through computer equipment, it creates heat. Now multiply that by thousands and thousands of servers. That heat has to be removed every minute of every day. If it is not removed, the equipment can overheat, shut down, or fail. Think of your own cell phone or computer. So here is the basic formula. Electricity goes in, computing happens. Heat comes out, and that heat has to go somewhere. That is where cooling comes in. A data center has to constantly remove heat from the building. Some use chillers, some use cooling towers, some use fans, pumps, air handlers, or direct cooling systems. The details vary, but the basic idea is simple. Servers create heat, cooling removes heat. And the cooling system itself uses power. So a data center is not just powering computers, it is also powering the machinery that keeps those computers from cooking themselves. Some data centers use water as part of the cooling process. Not all of them use water the same way, but water can matter. It can matter for cooling, it can matter for wastewater, it can matter for local utilities, it can matter during drought, growth, or infrastructure stress. So the fair questions are simple. How much water? From where? For what purpose? What happens to it afterward? Those are not anti-business questions, those are public responsibility questions. Downtime is the enemy of data centers, so they're designed to avoid it. In a normal building, if the power goes out, people are inconvenienced. In a data center, downtime can affect businesses, governments, banks, hospitals, emergency systems, and services used by millions of people. That is why data centers have backup systems, generators, batteries, extra power paths, extra cooling capacity. The idea is simple. Something will eventually fail. When it does, the system is supposed to keep running. And one system is not enough. That is called redundancy. Redundancy means there is more than one way to keep the operation going, more than one power path, more than one cooling unit, more than one pump, more than one backup plan. That makes the system more reliable. But it also means more equipment, more infrastructure, more maintenance, more fuel planning, and more emergency response concerns. A data center is not one big building with a plug in the wall. It is a layered industrial system. Modern data centers are also controlled by monitoring systems. They watch temperature, humidity, power use, cooling performance, equipment status, alarms, and backup systems. If something starts going wrong, the system can alert operators, shift loads, or activate backup equipment. That is why the outside can be misleading. From the road, it may look like a warehouse, but inside it behaves like a machine that is constantly watching itself. And what keeps it running? So what does keep a data center running? Power, cooling, water, depending on the design, backup systems, monitoring, and all of it has to work together 24 hours a day. That is the key point. A data center is not one big thing. It is a system of systems. And when the system is large enough, the community has a right to understand it before it is approved. Data centers do not exist in the clouds. They exist on land. They connect to real electric grids. They may use real water systems. They may affect roads, noise, light, fire protection, and emergency response. They may change rural areas and county infrastructure in ways people do not see coming until it is too late. That does not mean every project should be rejected, but it does mean every project should be reviewed, regulated, and discussed in public. And it is not just a building, it is a 24/7 machine. So here's the simple truth. A data center is not just a building, it's a 24-hour machine. It takes in power, it produces heat, it requires cooling. It depends on backup system. It needs constant monitoring, and when built at a large scale, it can place real demands on public infrastructure. That is why people should not be asked to simply trust a sales pitch. They deserve facts, they deserve time, they deserve public hearings, and they deserve enforceable protections. I'm not telling anybody to be afraid of technology, and I'm not saying every data center is automatically bad. What I am saying is this: big infrastructure creates big consequences, and big consequences require big honesty. If it needs enormous power, just tell us. If it may affect water, say so. If it may affect emergency response, say so. If it needs special zoning, special utility planning, or special public protections, just say it. Do not dress it up like a harmless warehouse, because it is not just a warehouse. It is a machine, a big machine. And if that machine is coming into a community, the people who live there deserve to understand it before anyone tells them to accept it. Truth is not negotiable. Y'all be kind to each other, okay?